Hello everybody and welcome back to part 2 of lace making. This is part 2, even though I've done a lot since the previous video, because I was previously filming this. My phone ran out of space. I went to clear some space to carry on filming and managed to delete my entire video that I'd just been recording, so I'm somewhat kicking myself for that, but never mind. It just means that I will just go over what I've done so far, and you can still see what I'm going to be doing in these 3 sections here, so you haven't really missed anything. As you can see, I've started doing the lace in this orangey thread. This is actually a variegated yarn here. Again, I'm using crochet cotton. This is quite a thin one to create the stitches here. And I've just cut myself a reasonably long thread, probably about a metre. And we're just going to carry on with that. You don't want to go any more than about a metre long in terms of yarn, because you don't want it to start knotting on you. You don't want it to you want it long enough to work with, but not long enough to start causing issues. You can always add more yarn in as you do it. So I'm just taking my needle and I'm just going to thread up a bit of yarn onto my needle. For doing the lace, I am actually just using a standard embroidery needle, just one with a large eye on one end and a fairly blunt tip on the other. And I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start on this section here. So I'm going to start just by running my needle up through the couching stitches. And I'm not going through the paper or the fabric, I'm literally just running it up through the stitches and out roughly where I want to start stitching. And then I'm just going to secure it in place just by running my needle under the outline thread. And then I'm going to do my first stitch in this section, which is going to be the buttonhole stitch, just to start off with, so you can see how buttonhole stitch is made. So I'm just going to hold this tail of my yarn down here with my thumb. Then I'm going to run my needle underneath the outline thread. And it's easier if I just pull it straight out. And then, as I draw it close so you can see the loop, go over the top of the loop like this, and just pull it down, and that creates a buttonhole stitch. I'm now just going to secure that by going underneath my outline thread. I'm just going to move it slightly so I can actually push it through. So underneath my outline thread, round the outline thread again just to secure it in place. And then I'm ready to carry on back and do some more stitches. So I was going to see, as you can see, I've got some letters written down here, W, B and W. The reason that I have those there was because I was going to do a William stitch, a Brussels stitch and a William stitch. The different patterns of stitches have obviously different names, even though they're all derived from the buttonhole stitch. You can use that buttonhole stitch in so many different ways to create so many different patterns. For example, this stitch here is the corded Brussels stitch. This stitch here is the Brussels stitch. This is also corded Brussels, and this is also corded Brussels. Now you can see the difference between these 3 stitches here. Even though it's the same pattern, because I've been holding it tighter here and here, it's formed a much denser, almost like a denser material. I am going to not do the Williamson stitch in this one because it's quite an advanced one. And I'm actually just going to do I think I'll just do the corded Brussels, but like this, and in a bit of a looser fashion here. And then the Brussels, and then I think I might do corded Brussels again here, but tighter. So I've got a sort of like a loose tight sort of feel to it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do a loose corded Brussels along here. So in that case then, I've made my first buttonhole stitch. For the corded Brussels, I lay my yarn back along the straight back along over to the opposite outline thread. I go under the outline thread, I secure it in place by going under again. Then I make a buttonhole stitch by going through the buttonhole stitch that I've just created in the previous row, under the line of thread that I've just brought across, and then straight up and over the loop that I've just created. I'm going to do it fairly loose, so I'm not going to pull it tight. I'm going to do that one more time here, under the threads, then over, create a loose loop there, and then fasten it off by going underneath the outline thread, and once more to secure that. Try not to go through the lace that I've created on this section here. I just want to go underneath the outline thread. Sometimes it's actually easier not to have it in an embroidery hoop. Sometimes it's easier just to have it in your fingers, so you actually can maneuver the there we go. So you actually can maneuver the fabric and the lace around. And then straight back over, and once again through the underneath the outline and secure in place. Then once again coming back through the buttonhole loop underneath the cord that you've laid back, create one buttonhole, and again Okay, so now I've gotten to the bottom of this bit here, I'm just again going to run my needle up through some of the couching stitches. Probably about 3 of the couching stitches, and then bring my excess thread up there and trim it off as close to the outline thread as I can. I'm not too bothered about the fact that I'm covering over the outline threads. This particular type of lace is well known for its raised edges, so there is actually another step that we will do after all the lace is complete that will just cover over and really raise up and bring those outline and the veins and everything really into sharp focus. So I'm just going to carry on now a little bit and do the, you saw me do the corded Brussels there in a loose form. I'm going to do the corded Brussels again here in a tight form. So I'm just going to get some more thread out. And I'm going to start up at this corner here, and I'm going to do the really tight version of the corded Brussels on this section here. Okay, so I've threaded my needle and I'm going to bring it up to the top point here, and I want to start with my buttonhole stitch here, so I'm going to bring my thread up around about, probably up through about here, and out there. And again, I'm just going to quickly wrap that around there and just do a quick buttonhole stitch to start off with in this top corner. And then on this outline thread here, do the wraparound. And remember, on this one I'm doing it tight, so I want it to be quite a dense. Move the scissors out of the way. I want it to be dense like this one here, so and take my yarn over like that to attach to this outline thread here. Do the wrap. And do the buttonhole stitch here. There is only space for one stitch, so I'm going to go around the outline thread here. Once again, wrap around. And again, tight buttonhole. Not going super tight, just going tight enough that it brings all the threads together and doesn't leave as much gap between the stitches as it does on that one. And get 2 stitches in there, then wrap around the outline thread again. Back over, wrap around the outline thread. Okay, so once again I finished the end, and I'm just going to pop the end up underneath some of the couching stitches. And then trim it off as close to the lace as I can. There we go. So you can actually really see the difference there between that stitch, which is the same stitch as that one, but that one is a lot more tense. The tension was a lot tighter on that one than it was on that one. So I'm going to have a think about which stitch I want to put in there. And I think what we'll do is we'll finish that off in the next video, and we'll do the outlining. I'll show you how we create that raised edge, and then we'll release it from the paper and the fabric, and that will be the next and final video in lace making. If you are interested in learning how to do lace making, obviously I am an absolute noob at this. This is not a tutorial. Please do not take this as a tutorial. This is just showing you how I'm doing it. And if there are any lace makers out there who want to give me any tips or tricks or advice or any of that good stuff, then please leave it in the comments down below. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But I will also leave a link in the description down below, and if I can, in the iCard, to another YouTuber who did a fantastic tutorial on needle lace. His name is Michael Dennis. It is quite an old video, but quite a series of videos. I think it's about 6 videos in the series where he teaches you how to do the coordinate, how to do the stitches, etc, etc. So if you are interested in learning how to do it, then by all means please go and pay his videos a visit. but keep on watching mine to see how I'm doing mine, and later on when I'm feeling a bit more confident in what I'm doing, then I think I'll do my own tutorial as well. But for now, this is just an introduction to it. So I hope you're enjoying watching it. As always, leave a like, leave a comment it down below, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.